Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is lecture number 1. The name of the paper is Literary Criticism 1, and today we will do the introduction to Literary Criticism 1. In this introduction, we will talk about what is criticism, because this paper is named as Literary Criticism, so we need to know what is meant by criticism. As our first writer will be Plato, therefore, we will have to discuss what is the Republic, and you will be introduced to the Republic, the book written by Plato, and chapter number 10 of this book is included in your course. So we will also try to find out how has the Republic been written, and how does Plato uh, conveys his message to you, what is the form, what is the structure of the Republic. The third item in this introduction will be some of the terms used by Plato in the Republic. These terms are important because unless you know these terms, you will not be able to understand what Plato says or what Socrates says. This lecture is specifically for the students of BS 5th semester GDC Pabi and also for the students of those colleges which are affiliated with Abdul Wali Khan University. Before starting this introductory lecture, let us have a look at the course contents. This is the name of your paper. This is called the course title, Literary Criticism 1. The semester is 5th. And the nature of course is that it is the foundation course, important for English. All the subjects in 5th semester are actually related with linguistics either or with literature. The number of credit hours are 3. The course code is ENG 502. And the actual contents are these. In the beginning, we will study Plato's Republic, but not all of it. That is the whole book containing 10 chapters. We will study only chapter 10 because that is relevant with literary criticism. Then after this, we will discuss Aristotle, Aristotle's Poetics, and then Longinus. The name of the book is On the Sublime. Sir Philip Sidney defended poetry, that is called the Defense of Poetry or an apology for poetry. This will be our next writer. And after this, Dr. Johnson's Preface to Shakespeare. This is actually Shakespearean criticism. He talks about Shakespeare and the permanent value in Shakespearean dramas. Then you will study Coleridge, his Biographia Literaria, but that is again a long book. You will study only chapter number 17 and chapter number 18. Dr. Arnold also is included in your course, and the essay which is included in your course is the function of criticism. So these writers are included in your course if you count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are the writers which we will study in all this paper. For the time being, we come to our lecture in which we said that we will introduce you to 3 things. First of all, what is meant by criticism, and therefore let us do this first item, what is meant by criticism. I'll share these notes also with you. When we say criticism, you know that sometimes we have to choose things and to reject things. When we choose one thing and reject another thing, in that case we say that we have used our critical faculty. So our critical faculty or our critical department is used for choosing something and rejecting something. So this choice and this rejection is done because of our critical faculty or our critical ability. So this is included in a kind of criticism that you choose one thing and you reject another thing. This is one meaning of criticism. However, we also say that just like poetry, it is difficult to define what poetry is. Different people define poetry differently. Every poet has his own idea of what poetry is, and he has defined it. The same is the case with the meaning of criticism. This is also difficult to put in language, and some people use St. Augustine words. St. Augustine did not talk about criticism. He talked about something else, but he used this sentence that if you do not ask me, then I know. If you ask me, I know not. That is, if you ask what is criticism, then it will be difficult to define. But if you do not ask me, internally, I know what it means. However, uh, we have some other definitions of criticism, and then we'll come to some conclusion. Um, we say criticism, the word is used in many senses. New English Dictionary defines criticism as fault finding. So this dictionary takes just one area of fault finding and not finding beauty in a work of art. So it's only the fault finding thing that he describes, but that would not be enough to say that criticism is only fault finding, because that is not the case. In some cases, we describe the beauty of the work, and that beauty description would not be fault finding. This other definition is given by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, who was Robert Browning's wife, and she says that the distinguishing of beauty is actually criticism, which means that fine difference between beauty and between ugliness. This using this faculty of the mind, this is referred to as criticism. So combining these two would give us something intermediate. English Dictionary says it is fault finding. E.B. Browning says that it is distinguishing of beauty, that is, you find beauty in a piece of work. Victor Hugo, who was a French poet and a dramatist and novelist, he says that if he asks this question, is the work good or bad? Then this question, asking this question, is actually the domain of criticism. This is the area of criticism. If you ask this question, is the work good or bad? This comes under the area of criticism. This looks a little balanced because it includes both good and bad. You find out what's good in the work, but you also at the same time find out what is bad in the work. Criticism also could mean appraisal, that is finding the value. It also means to evaluate. So one of the meaning is evaluation, appraisal. Exposition means explain. When you explain something, you actually expose it and you find out the good items, the beauty, and the bad items, the faults. When you analyze something, this is another meaning. Once again, you find out the beauties and also the faults in a piece of work, and therefore it can also mean analysis, appraisal, exposition, and analysis. If you look at the base of the word criticism, it is derived from Greek word, and the Greek word is kritikos, and kritikos means to be able to discern. Discern means to find the difference between good and bad, and it also means to be able to decide which one is good, which one is bad. So the Greek word kritikos has got these two meanings: to be able to discern, find out the difference, and to be able to decide again, decision for what is good and what is bad in a piece of work. Um, it has been used, the word criticism, since 17th century, and since then it has been defined differently. Therefore, it has contradictory definitions sometimes. According to Webster's New International Dictionary, it is the art of judging. The art of judging what? The art of judging beauty as well as the art of judging faults. This is also the art of evaluation. Evaluation of what? Evaluation of beauty and evaluation of faults. So it is the art of judging and evaluation. In criticism, we judge something, we judge its beauty, and we judge its faults. We evaluate something, of course, a piece of literature. We evaluate it, we evaluate its beauty, and we evaluate its faults. And this is done with the help of knowledge. Of course, that person who calls himself a critic must have knowledge. He cannot judge or he cannot evaluate unless he has knowledge of art, the piece which he is trying to criticize. Um, he must have knowledge in order to do that. So it is done with the help of the knowledge. It is the art of judging, it is the art of evaluation with knowledge, art of judging these two items, beauty and faults of a work of art. So this is another definition, and you can see how a variety of definitions are possible here. But the best would be to find faults as well as beauties, both of them. It's a kind of evaluation, and that evaluation meaning fits here. There is another definition from the New English Dictionary, and it calls it the art of estimating. You estimate something, but what do you estimate? You estimate the qualities of literary or artistic work, or you estimate the character of literary or artistic work. So, once again, estimating has got almost equivalent to evaluating, and in this you evaluate the qualities of literary work, the qualities of artistic work. You evaluate or estimate the character of literary work or the character of artistic work. So this is what uh, is criticism. You can see that the balanced definition of criticism would be to evaluate something which is considered as art or artistic. However, it is difficult to give a fixed definition. We evaluate a piece of work and we try to find out the beauty in it as well as something which is wrong in it, that is the faults in it. So, fault finding as well as beauty finding, um, appraising it, that is evaluating it, and all this. So, I hope you understood what is meant by criticism. This was the first thing which I wanted to tell you, because unless you know what is the meaning of criticism, you will not be able to understand all these writers. Um, the writers, for example, Plato's Republic, Aristotle's Poetics, Longinus on the Sublime, Sir Philip Sidney's Apology, Dr. Johnson's Preface to Shakespeare, Coleridge's Biographia Literaria, and Arnold's Function of Criticism. This can be understood only when you understand what is meant by criticism. Our next thing here, as I said, would be to introduce you to the Republic and how it is written. The first thing which you need to remember is that it is the name of a book. And this book was written by Plato. Uh, it has got 10 chapters, and the last chapter is included in your course because it is in this chapter that he talks about the mimetic art, the imitative art, and he has his objections. Therefore, we will discuss only Plato's Republic, chapter number 10, and the objections he had raised against poetry. These objections are then given an answer by the reply comes from Aristotle, and Aristotle does so in the Poetics. He answers all these questions raised by Plato against poetry, and we will discuss those four objections a little later, maybe in the next lecture. But in this lecture, we will restrict ourselves to what is criticism, which we did, and the introduction to the Republic. So, as I said, the Republic is the name of a book, and this book has 10 chapters in it. The style of this book is unique because this book is written in the form of dialogues. If the writer that is Plato, makes you understand something, he doesn't do it directly. He actually does it in the form of a drama. Not exactly drama, but he creates dialogues. So it is in the form of dialogues that this book is written. Throughout these dialogues, one character is dominating, and he in the end solves the problem and answers all the questions. And that is Plato's teacher, Socrates. So the main character in all these dialogues is Socrates. And this book, The Republic, is written in the form of dialogues. Let us take, for example, the book which is included in your course. The book here means chapter, that is chapter number 10. This is that chapter number 10, which is included in your course. Um, we are doing it just to give you an example how this whole book has been written. As I said, it is in the form of dialogues. This first sentence is spoken by Socrates, and Socrates is talking to Glaucon. Glaucon is Plato's brother. Plato doesn't come in the dialogue personally, but he introduces Socrates and some of the other persons, for example, here his own brother. But of course, this is also a kind of literature. He is writing in dramatic form, and Socrates had not done so. He actually has created this form in order to give you the explanation of the ideas which Plato wants to convey. So Socrates is actually the mouthpiece of Plato, and whatever Socrates says is, of course, said by Plato. But this he does in the form of dialogues. Um, the whole message is conveyed through dialogues. For example, let me read this first sentence. This is said by Socrates to Glaucon. He's asking a question. Of the many excellences which I have perceived in the order of our state, there is none which upon reflection please me better than the rule about poetry. This is something said by Socrates. He is telling Glaucon that they have been talking about a state and a good state, and in a good state, he is happy with the fact about poetry that poetry or the poets have been kicked away from Plato's The Republic. He said he is happy about that. And the Glaucon doesn't know this, so he says, to what do you refer? What are you talking about? Who has been removed or who has been kicked out from the Republic? And to this, Socrates answers, to the rejection of imitative poetry, that we have rejected imitative. This dialogue then goes on in the form of questions. You can see this is the first question, this is the second question. The questions and answers are asked by Socrates, also by the one who is talking to, and the dialogue continues. The whole of the Republic has been written in the form of these dialogues, and its structure is like this, that it has 10 chapters, and in the first chapter of the Republic means an ideal state. The ideal state which actually would not exist or would be impossible to exist. But if it existed, it would be like this. In the first book, which means in the first chapter, um, there is a dialogue of Socrates on justice. The second book is about the society, the development of the city, about the healthy state, about the type of education. You know, we are not interested in book 1, book 2, or book 3. It is only book 10 in which we are interested. This is just a definition to give you an idea how this book has been written. In chapter number 3 or book number 3, he talks about the guardians should be educated in 4 virtues. And what is meant by guardian, this is one of the terms he uses, and we'll discuss it a little later now after this. The guardians are the kings, the philosopher kings of a country, philosopher king of a state. And they should be guided, they should be taught and educated in what is meant by wisdom, what is meant by courage, justice, and temperance. In book 4 or chapter number 4, he discusses justice a little more, In chapter number 5, he says that both male and female guardians, that is, kings and queens, ought to receive the same education. Then human reproduction ought to be regulated by the state. This is what he says in chapter number 5. Then we have chapter number 6, that is book number 6, in which he says that a true philosopher with understanding of forms will facilitate the harmonious cooperation of all citizens of the city. So the true philosopher is the one, he says, who understands the forms. What is meant by the forms? This is a very important idea, and we will discuss it separately after we are done with these 10 chapters. In chapter number 7, there is the allegory of the cave. Once again, allegory of the cave is very important, and though it's not included in your course, in order to understand Plato's ideas, this is very important to understand. We will discuss it separately. In chapter number 8, he tells about tyranny and he says that it is the most unjust regime of all, that tyranny is not good as far as the regime is concerned, ruling of the country is concerned. In book number 9, he continues with tyranny, which he started in chapter number 8. In chapter number 10, mostly he talks about the imitative art. The art is imitation or mimesis, so he talks against the mimesis. To give you again the summary of the whole book, Bertrand Russell, philosopher, he divides the whole book into 3 parts, and he says that from chapter number 1 to chapter number 5, he discusses the attempt to define justice. He attempts to define justice. There is the description of an ideal community called utopia, ideal state, and the education of its guardians. As I said, philosopher kings are called guardians. In from book number 6 to book number 7, the nature of philosophers is discussed. The ideal rulers for such a community, the ideal rulers, that is the guardians, they are discussed, which are also referred to as philosopher kings. From chapter number 8 to 10, the pros and cons of various practical forms of government is discussed. Pros and cons, that is the advantages and disadvantages, the plus and the minus of different forms is discussed. So this was an introduction, as I said, the introduction to the Republic, and we said that the Republic is an ideal state, the bonum of the book, which refers to the ideal state, and this book is written in the form of dialogue. This is important to understand. This is written in the form of dialogues. Whenever Plato wants to make you understand something, he does so in the form of dialogues, and the major character in these dialogues is his teacher, that is Socrates. Of course, this has not happened, so it's creating a kind of drama. It is a dramatic form in which he tries to explain different things to us. So these two are now done with. We have now discussed what is criticism, that is, its meaning is evaluation, and we also have talked about the Republic. It is the name of a book in which an ideal state is referred to, and it is written in the form of dialogues created by Plato. The most important character who explains all the ideas and the things is Socrates, but Socrates has to ask and answer questions, and with the help of these questions and answers, he actually explains all the ideas to you. The third item now, some terms used by Plato in the Republic. This is also very important. The first idea is about the soul. What he talks about the soul and what the Greek meant by the soul in its tripartite soul, that is, the 3 parts of the soul. So he tells us that there are 3 parts of the soul. The first part is the reason, the second part is the spirit, and the third part is the appetite. This reason is at the top, Spirit is the kind of in the middle, and appetite is the worst part of the soul. Reason is then discussed by him, and it is the one which longs for truth, which is interested only in truth, and the soul is ruled by reason, because reason is the best part of the soul, and it is with the help of reason, rationality, your brain, that you control the other two parts, the spirit and also the appetite. But the reason is the best part, and the reason should control the rest of the items, the ingredients of the spirit, that is the appetite and the spirit itself. So reason tries to find out what is truth, and therefore it is the best part. Spirit is the source of our honor-loving and victory-loving desires. Though they refer to desires, but the desires are good desires. That is the honor-loving desire and the victory-loving desire to find victory, to win battles, and so on. It is also responsible for the feelings of anger and indignation. And the duty of the spirit is that it ensures that appetite adheres and obeys the commands of the reason. So this is its job, to make the last part, that is the appetite, um, obey whatever is said by the reason. So reason is in the commanding position, spirit is in the next position, and then the worst part of the soul is appetite. This is very important to understand, that the worst part is the appetite, the desires. Appetite refers to the desires, all the desires, for example, for food, for drink, for sexual gratification, and for pleasure, and all that. And Socrates or Plato calls it money loving, because all the desire can be fulfilled by money. So he calls the appetite as the money loving part of the soul. This part is strictly controlled by reason with the help of the spirit. So now you can see that the soul is tripartite. It consists of three parts, and with the help of the same ideas, reason, spirit, and appetite, Plato, with the help of Socrates, of course, explains the idea of the state. So, whatever we have in the soul, that is reason, spirit, and appetite, these are the three types of classes which are found in a state. And we will discuss them now, but you should understand it very clearly that the soul, according to him, consists of the best part, which is the reason, the spirit part, which is in the middle, and the spirit part, the job of the spirit is to make appetite, that is all the desires, to be obeyed. That is the duty. It is a kind of policeman, the spirit, and it has to make appetite obey a reason. Otherwise, that would not be a good soul. So these are the three parts of a soul. Based on these three parts, Plato talks about the three classes of the society. As in the soul, the best part is reason. In the society, the best people are the guardians. And then he talks about the guardians. Guardians are the philosopher kings. He tells us that as we have tripartite soul, we have tripartite society. In tripartite society, we have three types of people. We have guardians, they are similar to reason, they are at the top. We have auxiliaries, they are similar to the spirit part of the soul. And the producers, they are similar to the worst part of the soul, the appetite. So, guardians of the society are the reason of the soul, auxiliaries of the societies are the spirits of the soul, and the producers of the society are the appetite of the soul. So in a single person, you have the idea of the whole state included. The state should have guardians, auxiliaries, producers. Our soul has reason similar to guardian, spirit similar to auxiliaries, and appetite similar to producers. These guardians are also referred to as philosopher kings. That is, only those people should become the king and the rulers of the city, the rulers of the country, who know what philosophy is. These are the people who know and grasp the idea of the farms. And we will discuss farms, that farms are the actual things, that is, the real things of which we are the shadows. All the things which we can see in the world are a copy of the forms, and the forms are the real things. We cannot see the forms, but we can perceive the forms with the help of our reason or rationality. So forms are, they are also referred to as ideas. They are the best, and this world, we and you and all the things, they are actually the reflection or the shadow or the um, the shadows of ourselves. That is, they are not real. We are the shadows. We are not real. Forms are real, and all the things which we have in the world are actually the copies or the reflection of the forms, also called ideas. So the philosopher kings are those people who try to understand the truth. Forms are the truth or the reality. They try to understand the reality, and they are therefore the best of the people, the best of these three people: the producer, the auxiliaries, and the guardians are the best. So these are philosopher kings. Um, these are also the people who can claim actual knowledge, because the knowledge of the forms is the actual knowledge, the knowledge about the truth. Then we have auxiliaries, just like we have reason and spirit, we have philosophers in the society. Just like we have spirit in the soul, we have auxiliaries in the society. Auxiliaries refers to the warriors, to the soldiers who try to defend the city from the invaders. And these warriors have to obey the orders and the commands of the philosopher king, because the philosopher king is the one who knows the forms or the reality, who is well educated in all these items, and therefore auxiliaries are the warriors, and they have uh, to make it possible for the other people to enforce the orders of the philosopher king. That is done by the auxiliaries. So auxiliaries are similar to the spirit in the middle of the soul. Then we have the producers. The producer is the largest class of the society, but this is the worst one. These are they belong to the professions, but they do not belong to the profession of warrior or the ruler. To the other professions, for example, merchants, doctors, artists, actors, lawyers, judges, and all of them. And these are the people who only have to obey the rulers, that is, the philosopher kings. And if they do not obey them, then there are the auxiliaries, the warriors, who will make them obey the rule of the rulers, that is, the orders of the guardians or the philosopher king. So these are two concepts which are extremely important. The concept of the soul, which is tripartite, which consists of three parts: reason, spirit, and appetite. Appetite, remember, this is extremely important, is the worst part of the soul. Appetite are the desires, the wishes, and these desires, as they are the worst, they are to be suppressed. This is the basic idea um, conveyed by Plato through Socrates. The next is that guardians are the best in the society. The second are the auxiliaries, the soldiers. And the third, the worst, are the producers, the professionals. All of them should be controlled by the philosopher king. Then comes the idea of elenchus. This is, and here I'm telling you again and again that this is important, this is extremely important. Yes, it is important, extremely important, all of them. Elenchus, we said that the whole of the book, The Republic, is written in the form of dialogues. With these dialogues, in these dialogues, Socrates uses the method of questioning his interlocutors. Interlocutors are the ones with whom Socrates has a discussion. The one you are talking to is called interlocutor. So his method is that he would prove that the ideas of the interlocutor are contradictory with the help of asking questions. He doesn't tell you that your ideas are contradictory, but he proves that your ideas are contradictory with the help of questioning you, to which the answers you give will expose your contradictory nature. And let me give you an example. For example, if I say Furqan, let's say Furqan has said that Mr. A is his best teacher. And I am, for example, Socrates, and I ask questions. What do you mean by a teacher? What does a teacher do? And Furqan tells me that a teacher teaches and he has students, um, and that he has a lot of knowledge. And then I ask him, you said that A is your best teacher. So did he teach you anything? Furqan says, no. Um, Furqan also said that he has a lot of knowledge, and I ask him, does he have a lot of knowledge? And Furqan says, no. Then Furqan is caught. Because Furqan had said that. And then I say, does he teach you anything? He says, no, he doesn't teach me anything, but he is my best teacher. Then you can see how Furqan is exposed that he was lying, that Mr. A was not his best teacher because Mr. A did not have any knowledge, because Mr. A did not teach him anything. So how could he be then the best teacher of his? Therefore, Furqan is proved wrong. And this was the method followed by Socrates, and this method is referred to as elenchus. Here comes the next idea, form, also called idea. When we say that Plato is an idealist, we refer to the forms because he believed in the forms. And what is form? Form is the aspect of reality beyond the one we can see. We can see ourselves, we can see the things of the world, and Plato believed that this is the reflection of the reality, and that reality of which we are the reflection is called form, or is called an idea. This idea is more real, and it is unchanging, it is eternal, it is absolute. For example, if we say goodness, goodness is a form, and that person who shares this characteristic, who takes something from it, would become good as well. So if someone is good, we say that he has taken some from the goodness. Goodness is that form which is real, and which is 100%, and from this 100% we get some percentage and we become good. The same is the case with beauty. There is that absolute beauty, maybe the beauty of God, and from we call some other person beautiful because he has taken some beauty from there, because it is a kind of reflection of that real beauty. If we find, for example, we say that that thing is red, then redness is the idea. You can see that all these forms are one, and based on these one items we can create many. Let's say, for example, for instance, if we say that table, the table in the form, in the shape of form, in the shape of idea, is one table. But this world is full of many tables, countless tables, which are actually the copy of this one table. The idea of table is one, four legs, and you put something on it. This is the idea, this is the form. But then many tables are created based on the idea of four legs, and something is put on it. Based on this idea, we have countless table in the world. So the it is the cause of all objects. We have one goodness, one beauty, one redness, one sourness, and the rest of these things we find in the world are actually the copies of these forms or these ideas. Ideas cannot be assailed, it cannot be attacked, it is permanent, it is eternal, it is absolute, and the other things which we have are the reflection of these forms. The something which is absolute, like God, is the form of the good. So that is among the forms, one stands out as the most important. In these forms, which we discussed here, the form of the good is the best one, and it is all dominating. So this is that the term of form, which was important. The term of elenchus was also important, and then the intelligible realm. It is not very important, but it is to some extent. Um, Plato divides all the existing things into two parts. Whatever exists in this world has two parts. Um, the visible realm, something which we can see, and the intelligible world realm, which we cannot see, but which we can sense with the help of our intellect, with the help of our reason, the first part of the soul. And that is, of course, the idea of the forms, the idea of the ideas. That is, we can sense the idea. So we have the idea and we have the reflection. We have the visible realm and we have the intelligible realm. Intelligible realm is that which consists of forms. So this is the realm of forms, and the world we live in is the realm of the copies, the visible realm. This is also an important idea. Metaphysics, this term has also been used. Uh, if you look at the dictionary, you find out that it is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things. And the first principle of things, according to Plato, are the forms or the ideas. So it deals with them, including abstract concepts such as being, existence, knowing, identity, time, space. All these are referred to as in the subject of metaphysics. So it's a branch of philosophy, is concerned with what there is in the world. For example, the theory of forms, which we discussed, is included in metaphysics. The theory of tripartite soul, it is again included in metaphysics. This is important because one of the objections of Plato is a metaphysical objection. The other is the moral objection, and one is the metaphysical objection, which we will study later on. So you can see that we haven't yet started book 10 from the Republic. This was just an introduction, quite a long introduction, but very important. You should listen to it over and over again. Whatever we discussed here are these. We talked about the name of the paper, that it is called Literary Criticism 1, and that it is in BS 5th semester, and that in the beginning, in this introductory lesson or lecture, we discussed what is criticism. We came to the conclusion that criticism actually means evaluation, and evaluation means that you find out the good and the bad both in a piece of work, in some artistic piece. It may be anything, poem, drama, prose, whatever. Then we introduced the Republic, that it is the book, The Ideal State, written by Plato. It is written in the form of dialogues, and the main character of these dialogues is Plato's teacher, that is Socrates. Of course, it is in itself a dramatic form. He himself is becoming an. This was very strange that he talked against literature Um, but he has himself created literature by creating these dialogues, which actually did not happen. Then we talked about some of the terms in Plato's Republic, and these terms were very important. The first term was tripartite soul, that our soul has reason, spirit, and appetite. The reason should rule the whole of the body, and spirit is in the middle, and appetite the worst part of the soul. Just like this is the concept of state. We have the philosophers, philosopher kings, the guardians, they are equivalent to reason. They should rule the country. Then we have the next, the auxiliaries. They are the soldiers who make it possible um, for the guardians to to make the professionals obey. And then the last part we discussed was that which was equivalent uh, to the desires, and that was the producers. So just like we have three parts in the soul, we have three um, types of people in a society or in a state. Guardians are the best, auxiliaries are the second, producers are the third. Then we talked about Elenchus, the method of questioning used by Socrates. Form, very important, form an idea. That's why Plato is called the idealist, because he believes that forms are the best, forms are the real things, and these are the real objects. The rest of the objects found in the world actually is the reflection of these forms. The reality is somewhere else. The best of these forms is the form of the good, and then we talked about the two types of realms. The visible realms. This is our world in which we can see all the things, and the intelligible realm is the realm of the forms, realm of the ideas, where we find the ideas. The visible world is actually not real. It is the reflection of the intelligible world, or the world of ideas, or the world of forms. Metaphysics is that branch in which you have the theory of forms, and you also have the theory of the partite soul. This is called metaphysics. So that was it. I don't think there is any need for you um, to repeat this in Urdu. There is no need for translation as well. So I hope you understood this, and kindly let me know if there is any question. I have made some of you as admins, and they can deliver those questions of the students to me. Thank you and good luck.